Alright, so before you even get anything, you need to make sure you're choosing your varieties first. Sorry, chicken, you're gonna have to get out. But yeah, you're going to want some varieties. I have a couple things here, some June bearings, everbearings, and all-star. Those are just to name a few. Now, June bearings, they go 2 times the year. Same with the everbearing ones. June bearings are pretty self-explanatory. They peak around from maybe about Memorial Day until maybe about. They usually then end once the birds get to them, which is usually by the end of June, maybe early July. And then they have another peak again in September, which is really good. But yeah, that's what they are. Everbearings peak both times equally as high. I don't have any all-stars, it's just a list I found. Next thing you need to do is buy your strawberries. Obviously you need to plan out your space first, so I'm gonna include both of them. So you want your space to be pretty nice and steady, so and I have told that to you. Buy the strawberries. You just buy them as like some seeds or multi-month-old plants. We got all of our strawberries is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months old. Seeds just test your patience. These guys come ready to do their first season, so yeah, if you want them to start as seeds, you're probably gonna have to start them around Christmas, so yeah. I will say the strawberries have been growing pretty good recently, so definitely something to look forward to. I'd recommend these because these are a lot easier to grow in a way, and then you also like want to have at least 1 row. So this is 1 row for me, but on average it's 6 to 9 plants. I would definitely recommend at least 1 row, so that way it balances out. 1 row per type. You don't want to mix in multiple different types of them, obviously. So yeah, not your bottom. You want to choose where to grow. Obviously, you want to get them into the ground as soon as possible, but really you want to focus this one a little bit before. Sorry, this page is a bit disorganized. You want to grow in a pretty well lit area of yours. So this is pretty well lit. You can see the trees are all around, but the sun is able to get in here. I mean, it's a terrible day to say that the sun will get in here because some storm clouds are gathering over here, but also a place that allows constant water flow because, well, you obviously want water in the garden because strawberries are basically like, give me water or I'm gonna die on you. So yeah, make sure that you're providing the water your strawberries need for that. And also you want to make sure it's in a raised bed or in ground, because these are all in ground, but raised beds are also a little bit of a thing. Also, you can grow them on like you can also like repurpose like a very thick pipe that you can cut in half. And if you're in a really small backyard, you could use these as long as the soil is deep enough and you have a fence that you can attach it to. All right, so let's talk about some general tips over here. These go without saying, but for new growers, you don't know this stuff. You want to plant at least 80 inches apart from each other. So you can see right here. Oh my God, what's going on? I don't know. So there's 18 inches from each and every plant here, believe it or not. So you want to keep them at least 4 feet apart from the rows. So these rows are each 4 feet apart from each other. 48 inches, maybe not directly on the spot, but about 48 inches apart from each other. You want to make sure the pH is 5 or 7. 5.8 is also like reasonable, but really 5 and 7 are the ones you really want for the pH levels here. You're gonna pulverize the dirt 6 to 8 inches deep. Oh my God. And then May 15th for growing zones above 6B, May 25th for growing zones above below 6B. This is when you want to put them in the ground because, you know, over here, we're up here in 6A and we still get some frost around the time of year, but it's like 70 degrees right now, so it feels like there's never gonna be another frost. But now that I said there's probably gonna be like 18 inches of snow next week. So yeah, let's move on. Hello everyone, welcome back to the garden. Today we're talking about growing some strawberries. If you just want some like real good plants, well then come along on the journey and growing strawberries, and also welcome this chicken into the garden, I guess. So now let's move on to winter care, because these guys live for 4 to 7 years. These guys don't live for just 1 gardening season. So you want to make sure that about 3 weeks before the first frost hits, you want to cover them with straw like we have over here. In the summer months, you can I want you to remove the top layer of straw, but leave the bottom layer because it's real good compost. You want to make sure that you cage them, because if you're up here in the northeast or anywhere that gets snow, you want to cage them so that way you can keep as minimal snow in the thing as possible. So like, it's like there might be 8 inches of snow over here, but in there might only be 2 inches because the cage is preventing it from accumulating that much in there. And then you want to provide them with at least a few inches of water per month. It tones down a lot. Instead of providing them with like 31 to It's providing them with 30 to 60 inches of water per month, which sounds a little bit high, but 1 to 2 inches of water per day is not too much to ask for. And we'll make sure that they're gonna get just about maybe 2 to 4 inches of water per month. Let's go on to a couple pointers for care tips here. So these are going to be, you want to make sure the soil is cool. So probably about maybe 60 degrees on a bad day, 65 on a good day. So about the house temperature for your soil temperature. Obviously you don't have too much control over it. It's just like a basic. You want to make sure they're getting 1 to 2 inches of rainwater per day. Not rainwater, but like water in general. It is not a lot to ask for, and if you're in a really rainy time of the year, you oftentimes get that water. We've gotten 8 inches of rain in just 2 hours, so the strawberries were either rejoicing or crying for help in that one. So, irrigation system owners like me, if you guys have an irrigation system, you want to make sure strawberries are set onto a separate system. Same with blueberries. Blueberries are basically the same. They all die for water. They're dire for water. They love their water, and if you don't provide them with the water, they're not going to like you that much. So you want to make sure they're on a separate system, because you don't want to overwater other plants or that's going to cause mold to form.